Welcome, everyone. I will call the regular meeting of Council for August 10th, 2026 to order at 6 p.m. I will turn to Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bossens, that the August 10th, 2026 Council agenda be modified as follows. That item 17, audited financial statements, be the first staff report to be presented immediately following delegations and presentations.
Thank you very much. Discussion on that? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And Councillor Hughes, the amended agenda, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hellerue, that the agenda for the August 10th, 2026 meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll be adopted as presented.
Presented or as amended?
As amended, sorry.
Thank you. I thought that was discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And disclosures of pecuniary interest. Do any members have any disclosures? Seeing none. Consent agenda. Councillor Hellerue, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Hellerue, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bossens, that the items contained in the August 10, 2026 consent agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Council minutes, Councillor Van Kooten-Bossens, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the minutes from the July 13th, 2026 regular meeting of Council be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, I will turn it to Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that Council do now go into a closed meeting at 6:01 p.m. pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss the following matters. 1. 239(2)b, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and F. advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, taxi license appeal delegation.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We'll now reconvene in the J.C. Herbert room, please. Thank you. Reports, and we'll start with T-023-26, 2025 audit financial statements and surplus allocation. I'll turn that over to our treasurer for introduction, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I provide my overview of the financial statements, I would like to turn it over to our auditor, who's online, to present the 2025 auditor's report, and then I will follow up with my presentation.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, this is Samantha Dykstra from Millard Chartered Professional Accountants.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Irina. All right, so good evening, everyone. So Millards has completed the 2025 audit again, and I'll just highlight a few items from our report to council, as well as in the actual audited financial statements. So in our report to the councillors, we have a copy of our full audit report that starts on page 5 of the PDF anyways. And it goes through that we have issued a clean, unqualified audit opinion in all material respects that states that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards, or PSAB as we typically refer to them. And then there's also a copy of our full audit report in the beginning of the full financial statements. And just a couple items to note, there is a paragraph stating about that we've restated some of the 2024 comparative balances, which are detailed in note 1 to the financial statements. And we also do state the responsibilities of management to prepare the financial statements and our responsibilities as auditors to conduct our audit in accordance with Canadian accepted auditing standards. So further in our report, we also confirm our independence with the town, as we also issued at the beginning of the audit our letter confirming our independence. And then further into the report, we provide a bit more details of our audit approach and our findings. So just to highlight, there were no unadjusted misstatements that we discovered during the audit. And as part of the audit engagement, so we possess an understanding of internal controls, and we did not discover any significant deficiencies in internal controls that we need to report. We do want to note that we've received excellent cooperation from the finance team and management at the town, and that there were no other significant issues to report in terms of fraud, illegal acts, or any significant other items of those matters. And then at the end of our report, we've also highlighted some upcoming PSAB standard changes that will impact future years. Into the actual financial statements. So the consolidated financial statements of the town, they include the operations of the town, and they also include the Ingersoll BIA and the Ingersoll Rural Cemetery Board that was proportionately consolidated in at 87.5%, as in past years. So just to highlight, so this consolidated statement of financial position. So that includes financial assets, such as cash, taxes and accounts receivable, land held for resale, your general investments, and also the town's investment in Earth Corporation. And just to highlight, you will notice that there was an increase in the taxes receivable that mainly related to one specific account, and that was settled after year-end. And one other note of there was a decrease in the investments as there was a large GIC that matured in the year and was not reinvested. And also to note, the investments are now being reported at fair value. In terms of the financial liabilities, so they include your standard amounts such as accounts payable, accrued liabilities, and deferred revenue, along with the long-term debt. And there are also some other liabilities, such as the employee benefits liability. So that includes the post-employment benefits that is determined by an actuary valuation and is a PSAB adjustment. And other PSAB adjustments that come in are the boundary adjustment liability, which we've seen for the last few years now, and as well the asset retirement obligation liability that came in a couple years ago as well. So at the end of the day, at the end of 2025, the town had net financial assets of approximately $14.4 million. And that fluctuation is further explained in detail in the statement of changes in net financial assets, which is on page 5. And then finally, at the bottom, we have non-financial assets, which is mainly tangible capital assets, or TCA, for your expenditure, your capital expenditures in the year, less your accumulated amortization. So a detailed breakdown of that is further described in note 9 on page 20. And the other non-financial assets include prepaid expenses and inventory. And then on the consolidated statement of operations, so your income statement for the year. So general revenues include taxation, user fees, service charges, and transfers from federal and provincial governments, as well as some other revenue sources. One of the larger changes you'll see other revenues was down as 2024 included a one-time land sale that was not applicable for 2025. And the expenses are presented in the statement of operations by functional area, but in note 13, it goes into more detail through the segmented breakdown that you can see the composition of the individual functional areas. And also, similar to the past, we have the budget column that presents the budget in accordance with PSAB. So it has been converted from the original balanced budget to PSAB compliant, and details of the conversion between those two are in note 14. So at the end of 2025, the town had an annual surplus from operations of approximately $3.16 million. And Irina will talk a little bit more on some of those details. We also have included this year a consolidated statement of remeasurement gains and losses, which presents the changes in the market values of portfolio investments. And following that are the detailed notes. So we just like to remind everyone that the notes are an important component of the financial statements and provide additional disclosures on the accounting policies used, and also additional details on some of the amounts presented in the financial statements. So finally, I'd like to thank the town staff and finance team again for their assistance and cooperation as part of this year's audit. Again, went smoothly. So thank you to management, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Just before we go to Irina, are there any questions from council to the auditor? I have just one, and I ask it every time, is do you feel any need to meet with council in closed session alone?
No, I don't have anything that I think needs to go in camera. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? I'll turn it over to Irina. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will just provide a little bit more detail on financial statements. So we, as you may remember, back in May, I presented a report estimating the operating surplus at about $1.8 million. It has been confirmed, the operating surplus in $1,862,000, and it's based on the cash modified accrual accounting basis. So we used it to budget, basically. So the key contributing factors were presented at that time in May in the report. So the surplus hasn't changed much since May. So this surplus basically presents the difference between actual operating revenues and expenditures compared to the approved budget. The audit financial statements report a consolidated surplus of $3,160,000. So the difference between the two figures is primarily due to the accounting adjustments required under the PSAS, the Public Sector Accounting Standards, and that includes reserve transactions, debt principal payment, amortization, any other non-cash related accounting items. So these adjustments provide a complete picture of the town's overall financial position, but they do not represent additional available operating funds because there is a lot of non-cash related adjustments. So looking at key financial highlights, there were several positive financial outcomes in 2025. The town experienced strong investment performance, with investment income contributing positively to the year-end results. We also maintain a very high liquidity position, allowing us to continue funding operations and advancing our significant capital projects. So from financial sustainability perspective, the town's net financial assets increased by approximately $1.9 million. Again, it confirms that our liquidity is very good. So the outstanding debt has decreased. We did not issue any new debt in 2025. Reserves and reserve funds increased by approximately $1.4 million, reaching a combined balance of approximately $27.4 million. We continue investing in our infrastructure and community assets during 2025. We invested a little bit over $5 million in the tangible capital assets during the year. So the town financial results also reflect the impacts of continued growth and development. We've experienced increased assessment, taxation revenues, investment income, and economic activity contributed positively to the 2025 results. At the same time, the town continues to experience increasing costs related to service delivery and infrastructure needs. So in closing, staff is recommending allocating the operating surplus of $1,862,000 to be transferred to the Arena Facility Reserve to support the construction of the MRC. This allocation will help to reduce future financing and ensure that there are available funds generated so we can use it to fund this project. And approval of the audited financial statements and the surplus allocation will conclude the 2025 financial reporting process. And this concludes my presentation, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you very much. Questions from council on the report or the statements? Seeing none, Councillor Halleru, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Halleru, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bosens, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll go into, Okay, we're going to do this again. Moved by myself, Councillor Halleru, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bosens, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report C-029.
Sorry, Councillor, I believe you're looking for Resolution 17.
So, okay, so this is, because we
We
flipped.
switched, yep.
Sorry. Moved by myself, Councilor Halleru, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report T-023-26 as information, and that the 2025 audited consolidated financial statements be received and approved, and further that Council approves 1.862-203.94 operating surplus to be allocated to the Arena Facility Reserve.
Thank you very much. Discussion. Councillor Halleru, please.
I just want to say, sometimes we may not appreciate it, but this on top of everything, budgeting and allocating and just tracking makes auditing so easy and makes us kind of flow with the understanding. And I can't believe that we've come to this kind of an amount that we can just transfer to the MERC. So it just makes me excited. Thanks.
Further discussion? When it comes to roles of council, this is one of our most important is financial oversight and the financial stability of the organization. And so I think this is a positive report of the state of the organization. We can see, you know, when a budget is the plan, but the financial statements are the result. At the end of the day, that's what really matters is what's happened, and certainly this is a positive outcome. And so some people may say that, well, you've taxed us $1.8 million too much, but that's not the case. These are funds that have come from unexpected better results, and I think it speaks to what we have the financial planning and the wisdom of our staff to be able to put into the plan to have reserves. Those high levels of reserves have paid dividends now with the finances coming back. And with anything, what it really truly is we'll be taxing residents less in the future. $1.8 million is less $1.8 million in debt that we would have to do that way and pay the interest on. So that's a good thing. But the main story in there as well is also that the rest of the financial statements are very healthy. It's not, we have options going forward. There's a plan there, and it's a good, healthy state. I know of looking at others around, it's not always a surplus. And then you have to figure out, you actually have to take reserves out, and then you really do have to replenish those by taxing people. So this is a positive one. And I thank all the staff for that have a part in that, and it's every single member of staff, because when it comes to the budget and doing that, that's what really where it hits the road, and this is the result of it is a good story where we will be able to move forward with something a little bit less more without being financially taxing. So appreciate that, and I certainly support where the money's going. Further deliberation? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And it was nice to start with Treasury for once. Not everybody's tired when so now we will move into Committee of Adjustment, and I will call upon Councillor Halleru, please.
Yes, thank you. So now, moved by myself, let's see, 7, yes. Moved by myself, Councilor Halleru, seconded by Councilor Van Quitten-Bosons, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll go into Committee of Adjustment meeting to consider the following minor variance application. A02-26, 85 Thames Street South, applicant Dean Hanlon.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. We are now in Committee of Adjustment. I didn't see any disclosure of pecuniary interest, but this report, did anybody have a pecuniary interest on this item? Any member? No, seeing none. Then I'll turn it over to Heather Sinclair for the report on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee heard an application for minor variance in July to permit a reduction to the minimum required dwelling unit area from 37 square meters or 398 square feet to 19.9 square meters or 215 square feet as it applies to the special central commercial CC-1 zone to convert one of two existing apartments on the second floor on the building in the subject lands into two apartments, being 19.9 square meters or 215 square feet and 28.3 square meters or 305 square feet in size, which would result in a total of 3 apartment units on the second floor of the building on the property. The minor variance application also requested relief from the parking provisions of the zoning bylaw to exempt the proposed new dwelling unit from the parking space requirements, which would require the establishment of an additional space on the subject lands. The property is located on the east side of Thames Street South, lying south of Charles Street East, and it contains an existing mixed-use building that has a commercial unit on the main floor with apartment units on the second and third floors. The subject lands do contain a parking area in the rear, which is accessed from Charles Street, and the easterly portion of the property is located within the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority's regulatory flood limit due to the proximity of the Halls Creek drain. Planning staff have reviewed the application under the 4 tests of a minor variance. The property is designated as the central business district in the official plan, which is intended for the full range of business, cultural, commercial, and residential uses. And it's the objective of the official plan in this designation to increase the residential population living within and in the vicinity of the central area. In order to promote this objective, the official plan does provide that town council is to permit medium and high density residential development through the central area to support residential intensification and the creation of new infill residential units through the development of appropriate zoning standards. So based on this, we are satisfied that the proposal meets the intent of the official plan for the central business district designation. The property, as noted, is zoned as Special Central Commercial CC-1 zone in the zoning bylaw, and this site-specific zoning was established in 1977 and permits all the standard uses in the CC zone, which includes a wide range of commercial uses, together with a range of residential uses, which includes apartment buildings and dwelling units on the upper floors of existing commercial buildings. The special provision of the CC-1 zone states that dwelling units on the second floor of the building on the property are to have a minimum gross floor area of 37 meters squared or 398 square feet. And it also permits 12 bachelor apartment units on the third floor of the subject lands, provided that they have a minimum gross floor area of 18.5 square meters or 199 square feet. In this instance, the applicants are requesting a variance to the lot or the gross floor area of the second floor to facilitate the conversion of one of the 2 existing apartments into 2 apartments for 3 units in total. So as noted, this existing site-specific provision established in 1977 was essentially established to permit the development of the 12 units on the third floor, and the minimum gross floor area requirement that's tied to the second floor reference the standard gross floor area for apartment buildings at that time of 37 square meters or 400 square feet. And this has essentially just been carried forward since that time and has never been updated. In 2024, the town did update their zoning bylaw to remove the minimum gross floor area requirements for dwelling units, instead leaving the minimum size requirements to the standards in the Ontario Building Code. So given that we no longer regulate gross floor area requirements through zoning, planning staff are generally satisfied that the request to vary the minimum dwelling size to create the third unit in this instance can be considered appropriate. The building department has reviewed the proposal and they've reviewed the preliminary floor plans, and they did not indicate any concerns with respect to the proposal from a building code perspective. So based on this, we're satisfied that the request for the third unit meets the intent of the bylaw. With regard to the parking variance, the town's clerk department has indicated that they would accept cash in lieu for the parking requirements in accordance with the town's cash in lieu of parking bylaw, and we are recommending that this be a condition of approval for the variance. So subject to the condition of the payment of cash in lieu, we're of the opinion that the proposal meets the intent of the bylaw. The UTRCA did comment that the lands were regulated. However, the proposed development would be outside of their area of concern. No other comments of concern were received from public agencies or neighboring property owners circulated, and overall we're satisfied that the proposal does meet the 4 tests of a minor variance and can be supported subject to the condition for cash payment for parking, which is outlined in the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do any members of the committee have any questions to the report? Seeing none, I will call on Member Van Kooten-Bossens, please.
Thank you, Chair. Moved by myself, Member Van Kooten-Bossens, seconded by Member Wilson. I'm going to take the Deputy Mayor right out. Sorry about that. That the Town of Ingersoll Committee of Adjustment received Planning Report CP 2024-244 as information, and that the Town of Ingersoll Committee of Adjustment approve application file number A02-26 submitted by Dean Hanlon, 85-93 Thames Holdings, Inc., for lands described as part lots 11-12, block 37, plan 279, in the town of Ingersoll, being municipally known as 85 Thames Street South, as it relates to 1. Relief from Section 10.3.1.2.1, Special Central Commercial CC1 zone provisions to reduce the minimum required dwelling unit area from 37 meters squared, or 398.3 feet squared, to 19.9 meters squared, or 215 feet squared, to convert one of the two existing apartments on the second floor into two apartments, 19.9 meters squared, or 215 feet squared, and 28.3 meters squared, or 305 feet squared in size, for a total of 3 apartments on the second floor. And 2, relief from Table 5.19.2, parking standards, to exempt the proposed apartment dwelling from the parking provisions of Table 5.19.2, subject to the following condition. 1, that the applicant shall enter into an agreement with respect to the payment of cash in lieu of parking with the town to the satisfaction of the town of Ingersoll, as the proposed variances are considered to be 1, minor variances from the provisions of the Town of Ingersoll zoning bylaw 04-4160, 2, desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, and 3, in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the Town of Ingersoll zoning bylaw number 04-4160, and 4, in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the county official plan.
Thank you very much. Discussion. Councillor Hallerow, please.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. This is one of those nice ones where we see the provincial plan statement forcing us to do certain things. And I just wondered, is there a timeline for this? Or are they ready to go for it right away?
Through you, Mr. Chair. My understanding is the applicants have tried to apply for building permits, which leads me to believe that they are intending to move forward with it right away. But there's no sunset clause on the variance, so this approval would essentially apply in perpetuity, and there would be no enforcement to make them establish that third unit immediately.
Further discussion? No, I think this is good. It's been vetted to make sure that it's safe, but also aligns with the report we're going to see later on our CIP program, which one of that is to encourage units within the downtown core. So it's good that that's aligning as well, and maybe that CIP program can be as of use to the applicants. For the discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And I will call upon Member Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Member Bowman, that this Committee of Adjustment meeting now be adjourned and that the August 10th, 2026 regular meeting of Council come back into order.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, we're back as Town Council. And we will go to our next planning matter, which is CP 2026-250, extension to draft plan approval, approved plan of subdivision. And we'll go back to Planner Sinclair, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. The county has received a request to extend approval of a residential draft plan of subdivision, which is scheduled to lapse in October of this year. The initial subdivision approval was granted in December of 2021 and was approved for a 2-year extension in October of 2024. The draft plan of subdivision is located on the northeast corner of Holcroft Street and Wanham Street, as shown on Plate 1 of the staff report, and it proposes the creation of 7 lots for single detached dwellings with frontage on Wanham Street and 5 lots for semi-detached dwellings with frontage on Holcroft Street, as well as 2 blocks that would remain as open space. Planning staff are generally satisfied that the applicant is actively continuing to work through their conditions of draft approval with town and county staff, as well as staff from the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority. And at this time, services have been installed for the proposed lots along Wanham Street. No comments of concern were received from any of the public agencies that were circulated, and overall, we are satisfied that the request for extension to draft plan will continue to comply with the relevant policies of the provincial planning statement and the county's official plan with respect to infill development, and we are recommending that council support a 2-year extension to the draft plan.
Thank you very much. Questions of the report? Seeing none, Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Ingersoll receive Planning Report CP 2026-250 as information. At the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll advised County of Oxford that the town supports the 2-year extension of draft proposal or approval for the plan of subdivision file SB 21-01-6 as submitted by Reeves Land Corporation for the lands described as parks lots 6A, 8A, Block 30, Plan 279, being municipally known as 90 Holcroft Street in Ingersoll.
Thank you very much. Discussion. The only thing I'll say is that, yeah, there was, obviously they had to wait for servicing, but in general, these are going to be tougher to come by. Certainly my view is that we need to crack down on speculation, and if people are not moving forward with it, certainly those allocations of water, wastewater, and all the approvals needs to be moved forward, and hopefully we'll see that here. But now there's servicing and everything else there that should be able to. So, further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We will go to number 11. Oh, so I turn my microphone on. C-028-26, the lease agreement for trails located on Kiwanis-owned property. Mr. Graves.
Council will recall that this is an agreement we have with Kiwanis in order to expedite the trail usage on this particular property. This particular trail has recently been paved and signage is intended to go up shortly. The group has asked for some amendments to the lease, and so we have considered those, and I'll let the clerk go through those details.
Thank you. So as Michael said, we're just seeking council's approval to amend the operational agreement between the Ingersoll Kiwanis Club and the town of Ingersoll to provide the Kiwanis Club with compensation, annual compensation for the public trail established on the Kiwanis-owned lands. So the club recently approached the town regarding the property taxes it continues to pay on the lands. Staff discussed several options with the club, including transferring ownership of the lands to the town or having the club apply annually through the Community Development Grant Program for a rebate of the municipal portion of the property taxes. The club indicated their preference is to retain ownership of the lands, and as a result, staff are proposing an amendment to the existing lease to provide annual compensation to the club equivalent to the municipal portion of the property taxes. So for 2026, the town's portion of property taxes is approximately $1,200 out of the approximately $2,000 total property taxes. So that doesn't include the county portion or the school board portion. The advantage of providing compensation through the lease rather than the Community Development Grant Program is predictability for the town and also for the Kiwanis Club, as community development grant applications are subject to council approval annually through the budget deliberation process. So the proposed compensation terms do represent an unbudgeted amount for 2026, so we are proposing, if council approves this amendment, that it comes into force for 2027. But otherwise, happy to answer questions.
Councillor Halleru, please.
Thank you, through you. The question I have is, so usually we get Kiwanis coming for those grants at the end of the year. I'm wondering, is this a stable thing that makes more sense to have them automatically get every year and then they don't have to come for those? Or do they still have the option of coming if they need money for something else?
So to answer your question, yeah, for predictability purposes for the town and also for the Kiwanis Club, we have recommended amending the lease agreement so that they don't have to pursue a grant through the Community Development Grant Program. If they were to apply, it wouldn't mean that they couldn't apply for any other grants. There's multiple grant application categories. But because we have this agreement in place, the trails are now established, we thought it would be appropriate to bring this to council for your consideration.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, seconded by Councillor Halleru, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report C-028-26 as information, and that Council approve an amendment to the Kiwanis Trail lease agreement to establish annual lease compensation equal to the municipal portion of property taxes for the lands associated with PIN 0015900323. And further, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute an amending agreement attached to report C-028-26.
Thank you very much. Discussion? I just have one question of clarification. Is it just for the $1,200 or is it for the full property taxes of $2,000 on the property?
It would just be for the municipal portion that we would write off, so just the 1,200, the Ingersoll specific portion.
And follow up, the club is aware of that and they're in agreement?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Further discussion? I think this is a win-win. I had the opportunity to walk the trail the other night, and I think it's a great win for a community where it's, you know, takes some liability off of them and puts it to public use. So it's a pretty cool partnership that way, and I think that's a pretty fair price for, it's about $100 a month, so it's pretty good. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, that takes us down to the Joint Audit Compliance Committee, and I will turn that over to the clerk, please.
Thank you. This report was authored by the deputy clerk, but she's asked me to present. It's an election housekeeping item. So we are seeking council approval for the town of Ingersoll to continue participating in the Joint Compliance Audit Committee, which will serve all lower tier municipalities in Oxford County, and further to appoint members to the committee for the 2026-2030 term of council. So the Municipal Elections Act requires every municipality to establish a Joint Compliance Audit Committee before October 1st of an election year. Since 2010, the town of Ingersoll has met this requirement through the Joint Compliance Audit Committee with the other lower tier municipalities in Oxford County. So this joint approach allows the municipalities to share recruitment and administrative costs while providing access to a broader pool of qualified candidates, and it's worked very well for us in the past. The Oxford County clerks recently conducted joint recruitment process and are recommending the appointment of 6 members to the committee, 4 of whom are returning from this current term, and 2 new members with backgrounds in municipal administration, law, and accounting and auditing. The bylaw attached to this report establishes the committee and adopts its terms of reference and rules of procedure, and staff are recommending that council does approve the town's continued participation in the committee and the appointment of those members listed. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Questions of the report? Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to the clerk. So I see they have a per diem of $150. Is that per meeting or per day? How's that working out?
So that would be per meeting. There will be a per diem paid for the mandatory training that we will require the members to participate in, and like an orientation session. Aside from that, there'll be no costs incurred unless there is a compliance audit requirement for the town. So each municipality incurs that $150 per diem for their members if there is a compliance audit within that municipality.
Further questions? Seeing none, Councillor Halleru, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Halleru, seconded by Councillor Vaquin-Bosons, that the Town of Ingersoll, the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report C-02926 as information, and that council approve participation in the Joint Compliance Audit Committee for the 2026 to 2030 term, and that council appoint the following individuals to serve on the Joint Compliance Audit Committee for the 2026 to 2030 term: David Morris, Carol Simmons, Keith Riebling, Christine Skringmore, apologize if I said that wrong, and David Nusko and Kyle Kruger. And that the bylaw attached to the report C-02926 being a bylaw to establish the Joint Compliance Audit Committee terms of reference for the 2026 to 2030 term be adopted by council.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those oh, sorry. Councillor Halleru.
Yeah, I wasn't very aware of how this came about in the first place, but it's just really nice to see that this is something that is in place, and to see the kind of candidates. I mean, the quality of candidates on here just makes us feel like, yeah, we're in good hands, from the auditor to this kind of committee. I think that's an amazing thing to keep us all doing public service awesomely. Thank you.
Excellent. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, that takes us down to Community Improvement Plan, ED 013-26. I will turn that over to our Economic Development Officer, Director. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. The CIP has served the town well for the past 9 years. However, there's been much progress in that time. And this report is to propose updates that are required. This report looks to update the CIP to incorporate recommendations from the strategic plan, the downtown enhancement plan, and the health strategy. It will also authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with SWOX to extend the tax increment equivalent grants to the boundary adjustment lands to continue to attract industry. I will note there was one minor typo in the report. I referenced ED-002 as a report that was prior to this. It was ED-004. However, the substance of the report wasn't compromised, I don't believe. So I'm happy to answer any of council's questions on the report and recommendations.
Thank you very much. Questions of the report? Councillor Reeves, please.
It's actually, I guess, statements as opposed to questions. It's good to see that we're updating this, keeping abreast of what's going on out there within the community. It's great that we're utilizing the community health report, as well as the downtown enhancement plan that we paid for, and we are garnishing information from that and using the direction and suggestions from those to tailor this moving forward, to be more beneficial to the businesses within the municipality. And thank you.
Questions of the report? Seeing none, I'll call on Councillor Vaquin-Bosons, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that council direct staff to implement the additional amendments proposed to Appendix 2 of the town's community improvement plan.
Okay. Thank you very much. Discussion? What I'll say is, we've had I got to thank our neighbors in Southwest Oxford. We've built up a very good relationship through the boundary adjustment process and going forward. And so the good thing is we can go to them with any conversation, whether they agree or not. But certainly they see the benefits of why they entered into the boundary adjustment agreement and giving this tool to be able to expand to that area, to that, and to agree to their portion will benefit them as well. So they were more than willing and to do that and to enter in that agreement. So that's a good thing. It helps us in what we need to do and helps them. So it strengthens that partnership and the benefits of that relationship as well. So any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then there's a second portion to this, which it was just to separate the first part, which is the expansion, and then the other items that are in there. So Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that council receive report ED-013-26 as information, and that council approve the amendments to Appendix 1 of the town's Community Improvement Plan, CIP, to amend the map of the CIP area to identify the central area and reflect the current town boundary for relevant programs contained in the CIP. And further, that council approve the amendments to the tax increment equivalent grant program contained in Appendix 2 to a 5-year step-down schedule for industrial investments within the town boundary. And further, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the agreement with the Township of Southwest Oxford to match these incentives on boundary adjustment lands as attached to the staff report.
Thank you very much. And I apologize that the things are switched. So, no, you're good. The resolutions are switched, so that's why, yeah. So, again, this was supposed to be for number 1, and the other one's for number 2. So if there's any confusion, it's on me, so I apologize for that. Discussion. I repeat the statements I said earlier. And what I'll say is on this one is that, again, I appreciate the feedback that we received over the time, and that staff have looked into that to try to update those to make them, people take advantage of them. Certainly, I have personally taken advantage of them, which I've cleared, and it does make a difference. When we first did these, we didn't know about that. Interest rates were low, and certainly, how big of an advantage was it to have zero, like to get that 0% loan and then have that come back to the grant? But as interest rates rose, that became a better and better deal. And we've seen a lot of people take advantage of that in the downtown core with their buildings, and it's certainly improved. But again, to keep that going, then we'll be able to have better that way. And again, try to get those things done that were part of that program, and maybe get rid of some of the ones that haven't fixed. So, further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. All right. That does conclude that. So I will go to Mr. Graves for OP 01526, Freure Village on Clair Creek.
Thank you. As our Director of Infrastructure and Development is away, I'll take this one today. As council is aware, sometimes developers are not quite at the process to have their subdivision agreement approved, and so they would like to capitalize on the weather and to doing construction, so they enter into a pre-servicing agreement. Whenever they enter into this kind of agreement, it is at their own risk, but they are trying to build it to the standard that will eventually be adopted. So they have to comply with that. One of the main ways that we ensure that they are in compliance is to take a large amount of security for this. And this particular pre-service agreement has a large number attached to it for security. Because they are willing to do that, staff are willing to agree to the pre-servicing agreement, and so we're recommending that council adopt that.
Thank you very much. Questions of the report? Seeing none, Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report OP-015-26 as information, and that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll authorize the Mayor and Clerk to enter into a pre-servicing agreement with Freure Village on Clark Creek Incorporated upon receipt of all outstanding documents, securities, fees, and any other remaining requirements, to permit installation of underground services and roadway infrastructure for Phase 1 in relation to the draft plan approved subdivision SB 21-17-6, Freure Village on Clair Creek, Moffat Avenue subdivision.
Thank you very much. Discussion. I certainly have no problem with this. I'm still confused as to where Clair Creek is. But, hey, you can name things what you want. So, further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And with that, we'll go down to our other Treasury report, which is T022-26, the operating budget variance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is to provide council with an overview of the town's financial position and capital project progress for the first 6 months of 2026. So as of June 30th, 2026, the town is reporting a net favorable variance of approximately $223,000 compared to budget. This favorable position is the result of a combination of stronger than budgeted revenues and lower than budgeted expenses. So overall revenues are trending approximately $123,000 above budget, while expenses are approximately $99,000 below budget. So several revenue categories are performing positively. So membership revenues at the Victoria Park Community Center continue to exceed expectations due to stronger than anticipated enrollment. User fees revenues also trending over budget with increased revenues from areas such as marriage licenses, civil wedding ceremonies, parking permits, tax certificates, summer camps, and also some programming, aquatics programming as well. And we also were able to recover some HST from the government for the Clark Road Industrial Park servicing. And another contributor is a new fee introduced by the engineering department for the review of subdivision agreements. The interest revenues are also trending over budget, mainly due to the higher than projected interest on the overdue taxes. There are some areas currently below budget, so that includes permit revenues and supplementary taxation. Building permit revenues are lower due to slower than anticipated industrial construction, and supplementary taxation has been delayed due to some system transition that MPAC currently undergoes. So we're expecting that supplementary taxation will improve as they complete the transition. So looking at expenses, as I mentioned, they are trending favorably. However, there are some areas where costs are exceeding the budget. So that would relate to winter maintenance activities and also professional fees as they relate to planning legal matters, and also higher contracted services associated with paratransit services. So other areas such as utilities, operating expenditures, program costs, the variances are primarily timing related, and we will continue to monitor them. So looking at the capital program, the town is managing 60 projects this year. So out of the 66 projects have been completed, 31 projects are currently in progress, 13 projects have not yet started, and 10 projects have been awarded, but work as of June 30th, so things have changed since, have been awarded.
We do have a separate report for that one, for the capital program. Is that the one you're speaking to now?
The separate report is for 2025.
Okay, nope,
This
please
is
continue your draft.
2026.
Thank you very much. I just didn't,
A little reverse.
yeah, thank you.
Story's quite similar, though, you'll find.
But
Thank you,
it
my
will
bad.
be
I just didn't want to get ahead.
It's not going to be as long. So there are no projects that identified on hold or delayed in 2026. So, and of course, the major project would be in Merck, construction of the multi-use recreational center. And the project is advancing, construction activities, and also internal land servicing is being underway. So we have the construction budget for 2026 of almost $23 million. And as of June 30th, we spent only $824,000, but the main activities have just begun. So overall, the town remains a stable financial position at the midpoint of the year. And we'll be more than happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you very much, and I apologize for that. Councillor Halleru, please.
I'm glad you finished with the 800 and something thousand versus the budgeted amount. The question I have is, there's a lot of projects here that are in progress, but I see that the budget is it's quite high, and then the expenses are quite low. Is it because of the season we're in, and most of it will be spent towards the end of the year? Because there's no percentage of progress here. I don't know if it's up to halfway finished or just starting, for it to be such a significant gap in August for something that we've budgeted for. So I just want to...
Well, each project will have to be reviewed individually, but overall, I know that some of the projects tendered came under budget, so that could be a contributing factor, but a lot of the activity is in the middle, like we are in the midst of construction, and typically invoices come once the project's complete, and we tend to see them at the end of the year.
I was going to say something similar. A lot is due to seasonality, but we have had good success with tendering because of the timing when council approves the capital budget. We have had good success with going out early and getting our tenders in, so that bodes well for us, but we never really know in these types of capital projects until the end of the season, because a lot of those bills do tend to come in towards the end. So at this point, always halfway through the year, it's a little hard to read, but Irina's done the best job she can to say, here's where we're at.
And just to add, none of the projects have been identified as a risk, at risk of running over budget. Yeah.
Any further? Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you. Through you, are any of these projects in possibility that they will be carried over into 2027?
Well, a number of them will be a multi-year project. So, for example, the Merck. So that will be over the next 2 years. At this point, I'm not aware of the projects. Like I said, there are no projects identified or as being delayed to the next year. But, as we progress, to the end of the year, we may see some delays, but at this point, we don't. I believe the engineering department was very proud of being able to complete a lot of their work a little earlier this year. So.
Councillor Van Kooten-Bosens, please.
I really feel that the Merck kind of skews that number for our capital in that respect, because that is definitely a multi-year, right? So, I mean, there's 30 million sitting right there. And so I think that we need to be proud of our engineering department for what they're doing, considering I almost would like to see that Merck come out of that number, although I know you can't, but it skews it so bad. But again, we've almost spent $1 million on the Merck already, and just in the first few stages of it. And I think that you're doing a great job. Thank you for the amazing report. It's nice to see it all laid out. I just think we need to remember that 30 million is sitting right there too, so.
Mr. Graves?
Most of council will recall that when we did the industrial park, the development was sort of similar. The front end was very sort of slow going and getting it going, and there was a lot of back end costs that ended up getting developed. So it's when you take on these large projects, they're often multi-year, yeah, and it does skew your numbers considerably. But I think we're doing everything we can, and I applaud Treasury and Engineering because they're managing this very well, and also I think Engineering is doing a good job of getting some other projects out of the way so that we can make way for the Merck project.
Any further questions? Seeing none, Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, seconded by Councillor Hellerue, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report T-022-26 as information.
Much. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, and that takes us down to our last special staff, or staff report, sorry, is T24-26, which is the 2025 capital project year-end status. And I'll turn that back over to Treasurer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide council with an update on the status of capital projects approved through the 2025 capital budget. The report provides an overview of capital project progress, financial performance, completion status, and outstanding work remaining at year-end. In 2025, the town the 2025 capital budget included 50 capital projects, representing a total budget of approximately $14.4 million. As of December 31st, 2025, 23 projects were completed or substantially completed. 15 projects remain in progress and will continue in 2026 and future years, and 12 projects were delayed due to factors such as design changes, approval, and coordination with, in our case, with the county, with the upper tier. So looking at completed projects, the town successfully completed nearly half of the projects budgeted for 2025. So the projects had an approved budget of approximately $4 million, and we were able to complete them $841,000 under budget. So the remaining funding will remain within the original funding sources. In our case, it's the applicable reserves. And this approach ensures that funds originally committed for capital purposes remain available to support our future capital priorities. So some of the projects, as I mentioned, are continuing into the future years, and that accounts for approximately $7.3 million. And out of the 7.3, 4.8 relates to the multi-use recreational center, to the Merck. But this remaining balance is primarily timing related. So these expenses are expected to occur this year and the next 2 years. So overall, the year-end review confirms that capital projects remain appropriately funded. They all were fully funded. They are consistent with approved capital budget and completed projects have generated favorable variances, so we were able to deliver 23 projects under budget. And I'm available for any questions council may have.
Thank you very much. Questions of council on the report? Seeing none, Councillor Van Kooten-Bosens, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report T-024-26 as information.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Councillor Van Kooten-Bosens.
I just want to say well done, to all the staff. Like, I mean, everything that I'm only seeing like one or two things that came in above budget, and I'm sure that there was reasons, but like everything else was below, and I think that is kudos to our staff. I mean, you're doing a great job. Irina, thank you for bringing all this towards us and to us, and thank you. Thank you to the staff.
Further discussion? This goes to, we were talking about the surplus as well. When there is a project that comes under budget and that money is returned to the reserves, that's again something we don't have to ask future ratepayers to fund. We have those funds available, and certainly the process where we get that capital budget out there early to be able to approve and put that out for tender has real results in savings. And a lot of this stuff that we see that's carryover has now been completed in this year already, which again, we just had a report that says that we're not over budget in there either. So that's good that it's continuing. And certainly, I think we should all be very proud of our capital program and how it performs. Again, that's not always the scenario out there. You look around and you can see reports coming to council that, oh, we got to go back for more, we got to go back for more. I'd rather have it this way. And yeah. Any further debate? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, would anybody be interested in a short recess? Councillor Hughes would like to move a motion.
Move to take a 5-minute recess.
How about
10
10?
minutes?
How about 10?
10 minutes, good.
Okay, seconder for that, Deputy Mayor Wilson. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we will call the meeting back to order. And this will take us down to correspondence and resolution. The first one, Deputy Mayor Wilson for the Ingersoll Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee resolution.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, unless he disagrees, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the resolution from the Ingersoll Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee regarding hosting a biannual sunrise ceremony as information, and that staff be directed to bring the request forward as part of the 2027 to 2031 budget deliberation process.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Deputy Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. The committee had discussed bringing this forward as a more consistent opportunity that the community could come to expect to happen regularly over time rather than just kind of a one-off. The clerk was able to attend, Mayor Petrie was able to attend, and I think something that surprised the committee was how much it meant to Indigenous residents to get to attend a ceremony like this without having to leave their community. Because I think when we wanted to put this together, we were obviously hoping, education, opportunity to learn, all of those things, which certainly happened. But we really underestimated how important this was to Indigenous residents. So that is kind of where the consistency came from. But building it into the budget process makes more sense at this point, so that it can be considered, twice a year, every year, at the time that the budget's considered. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? Councillor Hughes, please. Councillor Halleru, then.
Thank you. And yeah, just following up and agreeing with what Deputy Mayor Wilson said, the committee definitely felt excited at the opportunity to put this in, and so that any other committee members don't have to deal with this. We have seen and we've understood the importance. And also when it comes to the action plans, we've now achieved one of them, right? Where we have something on the agenda, on our docket that we take care of every year. So that's the significance.
Excellent. Councillor Hughes?
Yes, thank you. Just looking for some clarification. So in the letter from the DEI committee, initially it says biannual sunrise ceremony around June 21st and September 30th. Now, I believe on the resolution it says September 22nd. Is that an incorrect statement?
The motion that was written did not have a date, or so
Did
that
not
was
have a
read,
date.
that's on the floor, did not have a date.
Okay, because I thought I seen something in there with September 22nd, so wasn't quite sure for clarification, but that's fine, no problem. Perfect, thank you.
Councillor Halleru?
Yeah, so for clarification, there's 2 dates of the year that we had discussed, and it was, I think the original one is June, and then again in September when we do the reconciliation. So we didn't want to put specific dates because the calendar dates change, and that's basically based on activities that dates can be set, but at least we recognize that it's biannual, like twice a year. Yeah.
Yep, excellent. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Municipality of Southwest Oxford pesticide use in public recreational spaces. Councillor Bowman, please.
Moved by myself, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the correspondence from the Municipality of Southwest Oxford regarding pesticide use in public recreation spaces as information.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Temporary loss where I was there for a second. Councillor Halleru, the Oxford County Library Annual Report.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Halleru, seconded by Councillor Vancouver-Boston, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the Oxford County Library 2025 Annual Report as information.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Say, as an Oxford County Library Board member, I encourage you to read the report and participate with your local library, get a library card. It's great. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And I will council member requested item severed from the consent agenda, Municipality of Kincardine Heritage Properties. Councillor Hughes, please.
Yes, thank you. Did you want me to speak to this or read the motion first?
Why don't we get a motion on the floor?
Sure. Perfect. Move by myself, looking for a seconder, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive a correspondence from the municipality of Kincardine regarding extending the deadline for notice of intention to designate listed heritage properties, and that Council support the resolution to extend the deadline for notice of intention to designate listed heritage properties, and that the resolution be forwarded to other municipalities in Oxford, Oxford MPP Ernie Hardeman, and all relevant ministries and provincial government.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Hallerow, please.
Thank you. So basically, the end of this year, if it wasn't the end of this year, or the beginning of this year, where any property that was listed as potential heritage sites, if it was listed, would be taken off. A lot of municipalities, I don't believe we have a list started. However, we have, being a member of the Heritage Committee, we have looked at some of the some of the buildings here in Ingersoll and potentially putting them on a list as a potential for designation. The province did change designation regulations considerably in the last go-round. So it's just something that if we were able to have an extension of time with these houses or properties or anything of heritage value, we would have an opportunity to explore further and potentially have them list or designated as a heritage value.
Excellent. Any further deliberation? Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Hallerow, please.
I just kind of agreed with that, because if we don't have something like this, we tend to lose the face, the facade, the history, the culture of some places, and I think this is very important. So, very well supported.
Yeah, and this is just another example where the province has stepped in under municipal control and taken it away. What we consider our heritage is important should be up to us. And so I imagine the development community in some areas do not like this. But again, that's once you lose a heritage building, you can't get it back. So it's one of those ones where, the province requires you to have a heritage committee. But then they've kind of handicapped that effort to be able to do that. So certainly supportive of that. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And council member requested item severed from consent agenda. Town of Plimpton, Wyoming, vacant commercial storefront tax. Councillor Hughes.
Yes, thank you. Reading through the resolutions that were received here a week or a bit ago, this one also stuck out to me. I know there are...
just before, can we just have it
motion.
read and then we can
Yes.
see if there's a seconder for it?
Sorry. And I'll be looking for a seconder on this motion as well. Moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation Town of Ingersoll receive the correspondence from the Town of Plimpton, Wyoming regarding vacant commercial storefront tax, and that the Council support the resolution regarding vacant commercial storefront tax, and that the resolution be forwarded to the two other municipalities in Ontario, Oxford MPP Ernie Hardeman, and all relevant ministries and the provincial government.
Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Hallerow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed, Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. So basically, I know there is certain downtowns that have consistently vacant commercial storefront properties. And with our community improvement plan, kind of falls in nicely here that we approved it earlier this evening, or approved the amendments. This kind of just helps with the, I'm going to say, incentive side of it, because now if you don't want to rent out your commercial storefront, you potentially could see an increase in your taxes, as I don't want to say a penalty, but that's if you can look at it that way. And hopefully that would push businesses, property owners to start renting these problematic storefronts out that have been consistently unoccupied. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. And it's the motion in that Plimpton, Wyoming has pushed through is to have staff look at the potential for doing this. This isn't, we're not saying that we're going to do it, but it's to investigate it and to, have a conversation with the province to try and help develop that.
Councillor Hallerow?
Thank you. If you all remember, 2022, when we newly got elected, this was one of my first motions. I was rough around the edges, and I was trying to propose this, and because Woodstock had just done that. So this was nice to see it come back in a way that others are exploring it. And like you said, it's for staff to take a look at it because, I mean, we are doing a well-rounded job now, maybe with the CIP where our downtown looks nice and it's been occupied more. But I remember at the time I came here, it was just, everywhere was empty. And it didn't look good, and I remember even Woodstock struggling to get people to go back in there. So it is an incentive for landlords to keep things open, accessible, affordable to people who are willing to risk it. And I hope it does help at some point. I think staff will come up with something quite reasonable. We trust that. But I think it's worth exploring because, again, economies go up and down, and you want to have something that keeps your downtown active all the time. So I support it.
So just for clarification, this motion that's been put on the floor does not direct our staff to look at it. It is for supporting the resolution that was coming. So just, I wouldn't expect anything back from our staff from this resolution.
No.
Further discussion? I won't be supporting this just because I don't believe their resolution provides enough information on the implications of what they're seeking. I think that what it takes to create a whole new tax class as far as, and then implementing and doing that, I would want to see more information at that time to see if it's something I would support. We did get rid of the vacancy tax on commercial properties, so that's something that was done, and so they are paying full taxes. I don't know if this would not be challenged as an unfair tax upon, from a property owner of, I know they've had some vacant housing tax and stuff like that, but again, how do you implement that? But again, I think the idea I can support, but as far as what I don't think there's enough information for me to support what they're trying to do because at this point it's just an idea, but I get where you're coming from. Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, no, I understand that, and doing some research into this, you're absolutely right. There is potential for litigation and challenges, and that's the whole part because the municipality that we're supporting is to do with looking into how it can be developed, how it would look, parameters and that type of thing, and again, working with the province to maybe do that work for us, and then it's just a matter of us having to be able to implement it as opposed to basically create this whole program and then say to the province, here, let's do this, which we know where that would end up.
Absolutely. Deputy Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I'm just wondering if we could have the motion reread. Thank you.
As it is here is that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll received the correspondence from the Town of Plimpton, Wyoming regarding the vacant commercial storefront tax, and that Council support the resolution regarding vacant commercial storefront tax, and that the resolution be forwarded to other municipalities, Ontario, Oxford MPP, Ernie Hardeman, and all relevant ministries and the provincial government. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And that leads us to our final council member requested item severed from consent agenda, Town of Blue Mountains, OLT, and municipal planning decisions. Councilor Hughes.
Thank you. Looking for a seconder on this as well. Moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the correspondence from the Town of Blue Mountains regarding review of OLT and enhancing deference to municipal planning decisions, and that Council support the resolution regarding review of the OLT and enhancing deference to municipal planning decisions, and that the resolution be forwarded to other municipalities in Ontario, Oxford MPP, Ernie Hardeman, all relevant ministries, and the provincial government.
Seconder for the motion. I will second that.
So basically, as we seen earlier this year, there was some issues taken to the OLT, and we thought we had a good case in regards to the parking aspect. And the OLT basically passed.
I don't believe the clerk is comfortable with chair seconding, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I was.
My apologies.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, perfect. So as we said earlier this year, the OLT overturned one of our local decisions in regards to parking bylaw, and then arguably forced us to accept what was presented at the OLT. A lot of that happens within the province, basically. Somebody sitting in Toronto overruling what we are here in a municipality, and who knows best about what your municipality needs is your local council. And I think that review, to have them look at, the province look at the OLT and start making some changes to better offset or better support municipal decisions as opposed to going against them and pushing forward.
Mr. Reeves.
Thank you. Council's heard me complain about this a fair bit. So and in municipal government, misery loves company. So we're delighted to hear that others are complaining about it, because we need more to speak up and say this is a concern. This cookie cutter mentality from the province, I don't think is right. It should be municipal planning decisions, not provincial planning decisions.
Further discussion? Deputy Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I will support this because I agree with all the other statements that have happened, but I do fear that this correspondence sent to the provincial government will be, they will interpret that as success, like this is actually what they aim to achieve, to have less municipal control by making those changes to the OLT, but nonetheless, it's always worth a try. Like Mr. Graves said, maybe more municipalities share that stance. It will become better understood by the public, and we'll do our best.
Thank you. Further discussion? You certainly have my support on this. I think the role of the OLT has, I don't want to use the word corrupted, but when they can overturn an official plan that's been approved by the province and then say that something does meet the official plan when it doesn't, or it does when it doesn't when it does, when that's already been approved by the province, that's overstepping boundaries. And really, to me, you know, we take the test of a bylaw, it's not reasonableness, it's whether it's legal. And I think a lot of those other decisions that we get to make, we are elected body, and that doesn't mean we have to make always good decisions. But certainly, those are decisions that people elected us to make, and I think that has to be respected. I don't think it is as much anymore. And we've seen that when the item that you're referring to is that we didn't get to make a decision on that. It was appealed before we got to do that, which is not right. To me, I think the OLT should have sent that back for a decision. And so I certainly support this because it is, you need balance, and we've lost that local, you know, if we go through a process, we set the official plan, we set our zoning and all that stuff, that should mean something, and it doesn't seem to mean anything anymore. Even right now, you could have a private entity appeal to the OLT to bring land that is outside the settlement boundary in, with no plans for the municipality to do so, and who gets to pay for that in the end? We do. So there's got to be more balance there. That's not the plan, that process that should be happening. So fully support you on this one. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, that'll take us down to closed session. And so I will call upon Councillor Van Koon-Bossens, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that council do now go into closed meeting at 7:51 PM pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss the following matters. 1, minutes of a closed session, March 13th, 2025. Minutes of a closed session, July 13th, 2026. And 3, 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employee closed session report C-030-26 taxi license appeal under Section 9 of the Ingersoll Bylaw 25-5429.
Thank you very much. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And we will reconvene.
something, right?
He must have. And open session, and I will turn to Councillor Hughes, please.
Okay, moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, seconded by Councillor Hallerue, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report C-030-26 as information, and that Council uphold the licensing officer's decision.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Councillor Van Kooten-Bossen's bylaws, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the bylaws 26-5479 to 26-5484 be approved, subject to Section 284.11(4) of the Municipal Act.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll adjourn the August 10th, 2026 regular meeting of Council at 8:14 p.m.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you, everyone, for a very efficient meeting.